time to get on board and get on the mothership. And of course, join us for the wrestling experience here on a Thursday night. And it's time for the experience powered by the hardcore sports.
Wake up, no sunlight, so cold, sleep is nice, so tired, my eyes fight, they just wanna close back up tight, get up, hoodie on, hard work at the crack of dawn, this life ain't for the weak ones, no, this life pure only for the strong, feeling slow, shake it off, don't got time for negative thoughts, red sight, got the dot, shoot my shot, I want the top, never lost, got my plot, know my story, I know my boss, I will fight against the clock, time's a limited gift from God. One day I will have my victory, crush all my enemies so viciously, work so hard my hands are blistering, and they will carve my name in history.
Now with the hottest show in the universe, The Wrestling Experience, with your host Joe Cole.
Acknowledge me.
Coming at you with all the dope shit, freshest WWE content, and also the AEW. You are now watching The Experience, The Wrestling Experience. Now with your host Joe Cole.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wrestling Experience. And ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome my guest at this time, ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Wrestler, ladies and gentlemen, from All About Wrestling podcast is here. Let's add him to the screen. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Bobby,
What's up? What's up?
welcome to the welcome to the Wrestling Experience.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. That intro was dope. I was backstage. I was doing this.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's powered by the hardcore sports. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for gracing us tonight. Bobby, let's talk about, first of all, it's your debuts. And I always like to welcome our guests. And Bobby, let me just go back to the beginning. How did you get involved in this podcast? And how did you get involved in wrestling? Please tell our audience.
Yeah, so I've been following wrestling my entire life. My earliest memories of wrestling was WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 4. My grandfather, he's still kicking about. He got me into wrestling. He got me into loving the Eagles. Of course, I'm from Philly. And I've always been a fan. During the pandemic, I figured, I was bored. It was only home and work. Couldn't go nowhere else. I said, you know what? It's time that I do something that I enjoy, and I want to try something new. So I began a podcast with my co-host, Meow Moore, and we started audio. We were all audio, no video. And I just thought video was too technical for me until I started watching videos on YouTube, right? Go figure, YouTube. And of course, here we are, live in effect. We do shows on YouTube. We transitioned from audio, and now it's only YouTube shows. So that's how we got started, and that's how we're here.
I think that's really fly. I really think it's fly. And I'll tell you this much, Bobby. I'll say this much. You got a fly show. I love the way I love the way your content is and the way how you bring the audience in and everything else and how you discuss wrestling and you get everybody else's opinion, get them all riled up and everything, even though they have different opinions, but you all have that healthy debate. And I like that because that's what we do here at the Wrestling Experience. We always have healthy debates. We may not have the same opinions, but at least we are in the same road and we have the same road that we're going to be traveling on. So let me ask you something. Last night, AEW Dynamite took place in Canada. And again, Tony Khan's having trouble with ticket sales in Canada. It's been a rough couple of weeks for him in Canada. The social media people are showing these videos, these viral videos of Tony Khan not selling out and everything. What do you make of all of these videos, Bobby? What do you make of all of these haters, as I like to call them, and they put all these things on social media? Like, what do you think of it?
Well, I mean, it is what it is. Of course, I tend to favor AEW. I imagine AEW, the product itself, as more adult focused, more for the adult crowd, right? The blood, the hardcore wrestling, the language. Um, and of course, we know in every sport and every activity, there's going to be people that just don't agree. They don't like it. Objectively, I will say it's terrible. The fans aren't buying tickets. Tony Khan, he's not really booking the arenas properly in terms of filling the seats. It's unfortunate. It is sad. And of course, we all have cameras. The fans are taking pictures, uploading videos of the low attendance. Um, Subjectively, I think that the wrestlers, they have the right to do that, right? The wrestling fans. Um, but it's very terrible. It's very tragic. I think a lot of why this is happening is that people are displeased with the booking. With the booking. There's so much talent in AEW when it comes to booking. I really believe with that much talent and the people involved on the roster, they should have more of a hand with deciding the booking and planning the matches. I think that will give an edge to AEW. However, that's not the case. We see a lot of wrestlers that's underutilized, a lot of wrestlers that we hope to see on TV every week and we don't get to see them. So I think that's probably a part of and a huge impact as to why the seats aren't getting filled.
Yeah, well, it's a thing. It's a thing. I have said this many times over, and I have preached this many times over on different podcasts, on my show, and everything else. You need a live event team. You need a live event team. You need a marketing team. You can't you can't be successful in a wrestling organization if you don't have those two things, because those are your critical element. Those are your critical element formula in getting the word out and spreading the word out. How are you going to have an audience and build an audience if you don't have an alive event team? I've said this many times over. You need a marketing and event team because those are the people that have boots on the ground. They go into the market. They make ads on radio, television, internet, whatever it is, and they have that outreach. Why do you think WrestleMania was so successful this year in ticket sales? It's because they had that alive event team. It is because they went and drowned those markets. They wanted to make sure that they got those seats. They wanted to make sure that they got that revenue. Why do you think WrestleMania this year made over $3 million in ticket sales? It is because they had that live event team.
I
And
agree.
that is yeah, and that's how you have to do it. You can't just do everything by yourself. You can't be the CEO. You can't be the head of marketing. You can't be the head of this. You're overworking yourself and you're overthinking yourself. And that is something Tony Khan needs to do. He has to get help. He has to sit down and look at these videos and say, this is hurting my business. This is hurting my business, and I need to fix it. And another thing too is that I don't, I another thing too is that I think Tony Khan is doing wrong. He's not addressing this at all.
No,
He's
he's not.
not addressing. No, he's not addressing this at all. And this is a mistake on his part because this is going to hurt him. This is going to hurt him get like new revenue or new or new sponsors or even a streaming deal. Like they keep talking about this max deal with AEW. This is not going to happen if this continues to happen and they keep watching this stuff on the internet.
Sure.
So I'm just looking at it from an overall picture standpoint. And that's the way I come from. And I mean, okay, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. I'm not going to trample on your thought process. However, I'm just saying objectively here. I'm just saying what I'm looking at, and you're making critical errors all over the place.
Yeah, I think it has to do with arrogance, right? We have to be realistic. All right. AEW. All right. We have a guy, Tony Khan, who
Hmm.
fails to admit, we all know it. We're the fans. We see it week in and week out. We have to admit, all right, I'm number two. It is what it is. WWE, they don't have to promote. If they didn't have to, WrestleMania is what it is. We all know what WrestleMania is. WrestleMania is going to sell regardless. They don't have to. Tony Khan has to market his product because he's number two. All right. He has to have that mindset. He can't have the arrogance thinking that he can go into these different markets across the country, have a show booked, and just rely on the TV audience. No, it doesn't work that way. You got to have a team to go out there, and everybody doesn't watch TV nowadays. You know where we're on?
Right,
We're on our cell phones. We watch clips,
right,
right? We watch podcasts and things of that nature. So to get the information with regard to a show, a wrestling show coming to my town, AEW, they're not on that level. They need to go out. They need to hit you, like you said, hit the radio stations, hit schools, hit campuses, college campuses. Of course, they do go and they book events at college campuses. Are they reaching out to this market when they're on a campus? Who knows? But I think it's arrogance.
I am not going to argue with that thought process whatsoever. I agree with that assessment. I agree. Let me ask you something, Bobby. What did you make of Dynamite last night? What did you think of the episode?
I liked it. I think the first match, Will Ospreay, was a classic. In my opinion, Will Ospreay is becoming one of my favorite wrestlers. Because
Okay.
he's doing things that nobody else is doing. All right, that's unique in its own sense. Um, Mercedes Monet, I think she is not really as over as I thought she would be.
Hmm.
Um, in my opinion, and I don't know if anybody else saw this. There's a lot of people in the chat. Hey, everyone. Um, it
There
seems
you
like
go.
she's not good with commentary. I don't know if you got that same opinion. But it wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Right. Um. Is Yeah. I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree with the assessment. I really am. Um, I think right now I don't want her to do no more promos. What I want her to do is I want to show her showcase. And what I mean by show her showcase is get in the ring and start wrestling. No more of these appearances, no more of these promos or anything like that. I want to see what she can do in the ring. I want to see who she's going to mix with. Who is the program she's going into? That is something we need to find out and we need to spawn upon. And that is something I want to see in the realm of the booking. But as far as Dynamite goes last night, I thought the show was okay. I thought the show was solid. I thought the show was what it was. And I liked it. I liked all of the matches. I thought the matches were great, great nuance, great chemistry. Everybody played their part well in the match. There was nothing really tall telling, but we did get a couple of matches for Dynasty, and which by the way, it's happening in St. Louis on the 21st
Okay.
of April. So first we got to deal with WrestleMania, then we got to deal with AEW. Um, so let's talk about this first match, Bobby. Um, it was the opening contest, and it was Will Ospreay and Shibata. The match was fine. The match was all right. The match was great. Um, I love that catch can style kind of wrestling. I love the way Osprey and him had it in the ring. And this was not the first time these two have met. They did give a little synopsis of the match. They did meet 7 years ago, and in a New Japan show. And I thought history was going to repeat itself, but no, that did not happen. But Bobby, let me ask you, what did you thought of the match itself?
As always, I'm always pleased with the performance of Will Ospreay. I think whoever you put him against, he's gonna deliver. I think he's extremely underrated. We saw a lot of high spots, and a lot of energy. Right, I think that's a great match to start off AEW Dynamite, get everybody going. Um, I think it was great. It was great to open the show with that match.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved the way they were going back and forth with each other. At one point, Shibata channeled his inner CM Punk and sat in the middle of the ring. And he did that. I don't know if Punk liked that. I don't know if he liked that homage. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's near or here. But I loved it. And I love the way he was impervious to all the slaps and the chops. And he was like, come on, bring it to me, give it to me again. And it was like, he was just like, yeah, give me some more slaps, sir. And
Yeah, it was
he
a
was just like, yeah, it was a slap fest. It was slapomania right there in Canada. And I loved it. Okay, so Bobby, you're in the wrestling experience. I always ask our guests about the entertainment level. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give this match in the entertainment level?
I give it an 8.5.
Oh, okay. All right. I like that. I like that. I'm going to go on the same wavelength as you. The match gets an 8.5. The match was fine for what it was. And I loved it. I really, really loved it. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, just to let everybody know, my co-host Sarah Hafkin is not going to be here tonight. She has car trouble at work, so her car broke down and she can't get home. So she's having car trouble, so she will not be able to make it here tonight. But we wish Sarah a safe trip home, and we hope that she gets her car fixed as soon as expeditiously as possible. Um, yeah, so that was good. All right, let's talk about this next match. The Young Bucks took on Private Party. The match was fine. The match was all right. I had no problem with the tag team match. The Young Bucks come out in their Hugh Hefner robes, as I like to call them. It look like they look like. Let me ask you something about what do you make of the new persona of the Bucks? Do you like it?
I like it. I think it's really creative. They are tapping into their EVP roles and actually bringing it to the forefront because as we saw, I believe it was Matt when they went around to the commentary table and he tells him,
Hmm.
yeah, I think he told him, promote this. And then they went and they listened to him as if, oh, that's the EVP. He's your boss. I think it's really creative. The entrance music, the Bucks, they bring that charisma and that creativity to
Hmm.
they always reinvent themselves. So I think it's very good.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with your assessment. I'm going to agree with that. And so the match, like I said, the match was fine. The match was all right for what it was, and it had the great chemistry, great nuance in the match. Uh, the Bucks went over in the match, and they move on in the bracket. Um, and again, like I said, they did this new persona that they have. I I at first, well, when the Bucks started in AEW, they did have a good run, but then their character started to get stale. And I had said that the character got, now a lot of you got upset with me with that analogy, but I just saw what I saw and I surmised it. And that's what a wrestling fan does. We analyze things and we talk about it. That's what makes us popular on YouTube and everything else. Um, but um, they needed a character change, and then now they turn them into these corporate heels,
Right.
as I like to call them. And let me ask you something, Bobby. Do they remind you of the Authority with Triple H and his wife?
To a degree, um, I think they're a little bit more rough around the edges. They're unpredictable, especially with the backstage interviews, where one looks happy, the other looks pissed off. Um, they're more unpredictable. At a moment's notice, they can flip and get angry, and then sometimes they're even kill. But we all know throughout the whole thing, they're hills, to the core. They are tapping into their EVP roles. One thing I will say though, I think this tournament is a little bit lackluster in terms of the competition. The teams. I mean, you got the Bucks, um, Private Party. A lot of the teams, in my opinion, I think they're mediocre as best. And of course,
Right.
not a wrestler, but I mean, realistically, we're talking about the tag team championships. I think it would have been better to have more, I guess, high caliber teams, if you will.
Hmm.
I think that's missing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna agree. I'm going to agree with that assessment. But I think I think what they had to do here at this point was to try to put this bracket together to make sure that they had the right tag team fit and the right formula for this bracket and this tournament. Um, the Bucks going into the tournament, I think that creates spice in the match. I think that creates spice. Who else is going in the tag team? Well, we're gonna have to figure out that as time goes on. Um, on an entertainment level, Bobby, what do you give this match?
Entertainment. I'll give it a 8. Give it an 8.
I'm gonna go down the dial.
Okay.
I'm gonna go down the dial a little bit and give this match a 7. The
Okay.
match gets a 7 for me. The way they won the match, I didn't care for that. Kicking him in the nether regions, I thought that was not necessary. I thought that was just not.
What
I just
gave it
thought it was.
what gave it an 8 for me was when the Falcon arrow was hit off the
Oh
barricade
yeah,
onto the floor. I've never seen that done. So that raised it up for me because that was like, that was crazy. He almost, Private Party member almost hit his leg on the steps, but he just missed it. I thought that was excellent. That move, the fact that they were both protected.
right. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. I'm gonna agree with that. All right. Um, let's see here. All right. Best friends took on the Undisputed Kingdom. Uh, the match was fine. The match was all right. Um, Best friends going into the bracket. They move on in the tournament, and that was. Were you shocked at that?
I was shocked, considering that the Kingdom they wanna win it all, right? And like I said, for the brackets to be so lackluster, you think, all right, you expected for the best friends to. I expected them to lose. Um, but lo and behold, yeah, that's what happened. That's what we got. A little bit of unpredictability, which is always healthy in the world of sports, in the world of pro wrestling. So yeah, I was surprised. I was shocked.
Yeah, I mean they went over in the match, and
Yeah,
who knew? Who knew? But now next week they're gonna take on the Bucks
right.
to see who moves on in the tournament. I had no issues with the match. I mean, and let me just say something. I don't know why anybody hates on Orange Cassidy. The man could wrestle. The man could wrestle. I don't understand. There are some people that just don't like Orange Cassidy. Why? Why? The man could wrestle. The man puts on bangers. So I don't understand. I can understand if he doesn't want, if he can't wrestle. All right, I get it. Fine. But he can wrestle. The man could wrestle. The man works his behind off in that ring. So I don't understand why some of you all don't like him. Bobby, do you like Orange Cassidy?
I will agree. I like him a lot less now. Something happened. I remember my earliest memories of the AEW Orange Cassidy. In the very beginning, it was new, it was exciting, and for the longest time, Orange Cassidy, he wasn't out in the front. He was in the background. He was very quiet, and then an explosion. And wow, like I remember how I felt when I saw Orange Cassidy in the ring doing what he did. Um, that element of surprise is gone, right? As wrestling fans, when we lose that element of surprise and we keep getting the same thing shoved down our throats, we tend to like turn away from it. Um, in a sense, I believe like the invulnerability of Orange Cassidy got old really fast. I mean, he's smaller. Um, some spots he can take better than bigger wrestlers. It just doesn't make sense. And a lot of times when things don't make sense, it gets old really fast. I think that's what happened with Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. But I don't think he was shoved down our throats. I don't I think that we're trying to showcase what he can do in the ring. And I think that's what I think it might have come off as that. But I didn't find it when he first started out. I didn't find it to be over saturated or overused. They try to make him as relevant as possible on television, and that's something you want to do when you have a push and you want to give somebody a push. They have to be prominent on television. So I yeah, I'm going to slightly disagree to agree on that one, but
Yeah.
I like him. I like him. I'm a fan of him, and he's tough. He goes in the ring. He's like a Timex watch. He takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
Yeah.
And I like that one, Rich Cassidy.
A while ago, I knew that the momentum was lost a while back at Icons when they came to Philly. This was sometime maybe early last year. All of the wrestlers were out. They were getting autographs signed, and his table was completely empty. Like nobody was in line. He was sitting there. Nobody was going to get an autograph. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. From what we see on TV to this, and that's when I knew, like, all right, his momentum's starting to fade. This is when he just won a title. Title was gorgeous. I remember seeing it like mere feet away. I'm like, wow, that's a beautiful title. And Orange Cassidy's just sitting there, and we're looking like, wow, like nobody's in line. So that was interesting.
Right, right. Well, like I said, again, like I said before, I'll say it again. Um, the crowd loves him. The crowd goes for him, and he just goes in the ring and does his thing, and I like it. On an entertainment level, Bob, what do you give this match?
Uh, I gotta give it a 6.5.
Ooh,
Yeah, I gotta go lower. That's just my opinion.
oh, yeah, no, no, no. You are entitled to it, and I have to respect it. I love it. Yeah, I'm going to go up the dial a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go up the dial a little bit. I'm going to give this match a 7. The match gets a 7 for me because here's the thing: the match was fine, the great chemistry, the nuance in the match. I love the orange punch, ladies and gentlemen. I love everything Cassidy does in the ring, and I like him and Trent Barreto together. I think they work well together as a tag team. Let's see how far they go in this tournament, but they march forward, and it was great to see. All right, so Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale versus Anna Jay and Sky Blue. Again, the match was fine. The match was okay. Um, but the only problem that I had with the match, there was no crowd participation.
Right,
The crowd was. If you don't have a good crowd participation, how are you going to invest your time in the match?
right,
Because if you sit there and I'm watching a match, if you and I were sitting together and we were watching a match and nobody is clapping or nobody's cheering for whoever you want to win in the match, how is that going to work? How are we going to invest our time in that? Our energy is being wasted, and why are we sitting here watching this? Because that's the thought that would come through my mind. You
Yeah,
know?
I agree. Especially considering that Mercedes Monet was there. Um, hold on one second. Sorry about that. I have a little crowd. Um, she was there and she was in attendance, and the crowd, like you said, there was no crowd participation. We heard what Mercedes Monet were saying from home, but it was like crickets in the stadium. We see some high
Right,
spots, we see some
right.
good thing. We see some interaction between Willow and Mercedes Monet, but that was it. There was no reaction from the crowd, even though they had their looks and she approached her outside the ring. It was just like, okay, like what is this? What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't understand. I don't understand why the audience was not invested in the match. But other than that, like you said, there was some great high spots in the match, and I love some. Let me ask you something about. Are you a fan of Willow Nightingale?
I am. I think she's got much better. Um, especially like her agility for her size. I think she's great. I do. I think she taps into her character, that happiness that she keeps when she comes out. I like her. I like her. I do.
Yeah, I like her myself. I just loved how she's infectious and she comes in the ring and she wants to have fun and everything else. I like that. I like that. I really do. And the kids like it too
Yeah.
when you see her in the ring. So, um, on an entertainment level, what do you give this match?
I give it a 7.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that assessment. I'm going to give her a 7 as well. It's great. It really is. Okay, so we're up to the main event. It was Swerve Strickland took on Gnosa de Kesta. The match was fine. The main event was great. I love how Swerve Strickland is so focused on getting his hands on Samoa Joe. I like that. And I like that vicious side of him with him and the Prince Nana. I
Yeah.
love that. Let me ask you something, Bobby. Does Prince Nana remind you of the Grand Wizard?
Yes. 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 He does. He does. Um, I think it's great the chemistry that he has, and you can tell when he first started doing that, it seemed like it was just done on a whim, like it wasn't planned.
Right, right.
Did it, and then he did it again, and then the fans started saying, "This works. This works. This goes along with Swerve's character." Um, great, and exciting. That atmosphere. Everybody's doing the dance, and when he does the dance, I'm mesmerized. I'm just watching him do it. And Swerve is just walking to the ring focused. I think Swerve is definitely over. Um,
Right.
I like how they're keeping this going, like the long build up. And we talk about storytelling. AEW. A lot of people think that it's lacking, um, but certain things like this whole Swerve situation, it's kind of similar to Hangman's slow burn storyline and his road to when he won the championship. We're seeing that again. It's good wrestling. It's good storytelling. I am surprised that he got a clean win over Takeshita. Considering that he was a part of his manager, what's his name, Don Collis, the family. Um, I thought that was pretty interesting. In my opinion, if I'm the booker, I would have made the ending of the match a little bit differently, where both of them save face. Considering then they can go their separate ways and continue their momentum. But overall, I think Swerve should have won, and I think it was a great match.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm agree with your assessment. Swerve did go over in the match, and he showed Takeshita that he will never quit in getting his quest, and that is to become the AEW champion. He's on that collision course in St. Louis with Samoa Joe, and the match is going to be great. I'm looking forward to the match. I think it's going to be great. The last time that they won the ring together, that triple threat match, um, Joe didn't get the belt that he wanted. He didn't want. Strickland didn't get the belt he wanted, and Samoa wormed his way out of the match and walked away still champion. Um, but I think, do you think that this is the time now for AEW to take the belt off of Joe and give it to Swerve, or should we wait, or should we get another rematch?
So I think they did right with allowing Samoa Joe to keep it in the last go around, considering it was a whole triple threat thing, the element of unpredictability or within that match and Hangman. I hate to say it, but I do think it's time. I think it's time only because I think AEW needs to pivot. Looking at the grand scale of things, the crowd's not being sold, and we got to start thinking about, all right, how can we fill these seats, right? And this involves everything. It involves, all right, who are our champions? Who deserves to be a champion? Who does the fans want to see carrying the strap? You got to take all
Right.
of these things into consideration. All right, so perhaps, maybe it's time we need to try something else. Now, is that going to happen? We don't know. We don't know. I talked about it earlier. Tony Khan seems to be a little bit arrogant, not really
Right.
realizing, accepting the fact they're number two. So some changes need to be made. And Samoa Joe's a great champion. Perhaps I'd like to see him win it numerous times. But right now, Swerve is just on a whole nother momentum.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree with that wholeheartedly. Um, all right. So, on an entertainment level, Bob, what do you give this match?
I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay. I'm going to give it an 8 as well. I'm going to give it an 8. The match, like I said, the match was fine. The match was all right for what it was. I like the main event. For the fourth week in a row, Dynamite was as solid as you could possibly get it. As possibly as you can get it. And I like the show. I like the way they're building up to the Wars of pay-per-view. They haven't done that before in a long time.
Right.
And now they're starting to build the pay-per-view the correct way. Because I'll tell you this much, if you want us to invest in a pay-per-view, you got to have a solid build. You have to have a solid build, because if you don't, how are we going to invest in the matches? How are we going to gravitate towards the matches? So that is something you need to expound upon. But all right. So let's go over to WWE country, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to talk about WrestleMania 40. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, me and Bobby are going to go over the 10 matches you're going to see at WrestleMania so far. Now, tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be doing a SmackDown watch along. You're welcome to watch, Bobby, and you are welcome to be in the chat as well. Me and Nick will host Friday Night SmackDown, and we will bring you that telecast at 7:50 Eastern Daylight Standard Time here on the Hardcore Sports Network. And let me just, before we talk about the matches, I want to go to Bobby. Bobby, let me ask you a question. Now, here's my opinion. The build for this WrestleMania is lackluster. Some of the matches don't have that luster as I would like it to have. But that's my opinion, and my opinion only. Um, I can't speak for you, Bobby. But what do you make of the build, the overall build for this WrestleMania?
I think overall it could be a bit better. I will give them a pass considering that there's so much that has transpired behind the scenes in terms of the executive management, you know, the hush money scandal, executives changing, The Rock being thrust into a board member role. In my opinion, they're trying to put pieces in the right places, but at a highly critical moment, right? Um, it's too late, in my opinion. We have what we have. Um, we have The Rock, who, in my opinion, has surpassed the excitement of Roman Reigns, tribal chief, so much so that we haven't seen him as much as we've seen The Rock. In
Right.
my opinion, if I were to guess or speculate, I would say that The Rock is ushering in the Attitude Era all over again. We're seeing blood, we're seeing swearing on TV. Um,
Hmm.
it's really becoming something different. So I think this WrestleMania has been, in a sense, all over the place. And then we have what we have, like everything, it's still WrestleMania, no doubt about it. It's WrestleMania, it's the elite show. However, I feel like things just kind of fell into place in a what do you call it?
Unattainable.
It is enjoyable, but I think it's not very organized, you know.
No, no. No, I'm going to agree. I'm going to 1,000% agree with you. I think it's way too much, and I think it's way too late in the game to start amping up the intensity level. Now, last Monday night on Raw was great. I love the way The Rock did. He did his promise to Cody, and he beat Cody Rhodes down in the rain, and he busted him open and everything else, and he got the belt, and he showed the belt mom to the mom and the camera. But I think all of this was way too late in the game. And another thing too is that the WWE is focusing on one storyline. There's too many storylines here. You're focusing on one storyline, and the rest of the storylines are getting left on the cutting room floor. Especially that AJ Styles match with LA Knight. That match that should have been built up from the chamber when he interfered in the chamber, and you didn't even do that properly. So there was a lot of missed opportunities here with the belt. A lot of mistakes that you did with this belt. But this storyline with Cody and the bloodline and the Rock. But now I do agree with what Bobby is saying here. He is ushering the attitude era because I'm going to tell you this much. Nobody has been polarized figure more than The Rock. And people are just clamoring to see exactly what he's going to do in every city because the WWE, ladies and gentlemen, sold out arenas for Raw and SmackDown 11 straight times. And they're going to do it for the 12th time tomorrow night when they go to Unclesville, Connecticut. So again, turning the audience upside down with his shenanigans. Now, I didn't care for the heel turn. I didn't care for it. I don't think it was necessary for him to go like that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I digress. I digress. But anyway, I agree with what Bobby is saying here. This is way too late in the game to be doing this. Um, but all right, let's talk about the matches. Jay Uso versus Jimmy Uso, brother against brother. They were a good tag team as the Usos, the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions in modern tag team era. Okay, they were part of the bloodline. At first, I didn't understand why they had the brothers interfering with each other and costing each other the title against Roman Reigns. I thought that plot twist was ridiculous. But okay, we then fast forward to this little ditty that we're gonna get at WrestleMania. Um, the build has not been mm, not as solid as I would like it. Um, does it tell a tale? Yeah, maybe. Will it be entertaining? Yes. Um, I don't know if you want to invest in them. I don't know. I don't know how this match is gonna go. But let me go to Bobby. Bobby, who is gonna win the matchup? What do you think of the build for this?
I really think Jay is going to win. I think Jay needs to have the momentum. I think the company would be better suited to put Jay Uso in front of Jimmy. I will say that I've recognized and observed that Jimmy has come into his own in terms of his character. He's really there now. Like in the beginning, you could tell he was trying to find himself, in my opinion, as an individual. And Jay had it. Jay had it from a very long time. Jimmy is there now. He's there now. The way he climbs out over the barricade, the expression on his face, his emotion backstage, as we saw, when he approached Jay. I think it's good. I think it's genius to have a brother versus brother match. Every so often we're blessed with these types of matches. It's going to be entertaining. It really is.
Yeah, I think it's going to be entertaining too. I think this is going to be great. Yeah, I'm going to agree. The build has been hit or miss for me. It's been a hit or miss. But other than that, this culminates into jealousy. It comes down to supremacy and who is the better brother in the match. And I'm going to agree with you. I think so. You're saying that Jay is going to go over in this match.
I think that's the best way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with that too. Jay's going to win this match. There's going to be some yeets going on at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
That crowd is. Go
if I
ahead,
had to
Bobby.
spoiler, I would say spoiler alert. Somehow Sami Zayn gets involved.
Mm, I don't like shenanigans in matches, as you all know, ladies and gentlemen. I don't. I don't like shenanigans. I hate shenanigans in matches. Watch all of my show, and you know that I just do. I despise shenanigans in matches because it ruins the ambiance of the match. However, if you must bring out the shenanigans sandwich and you want to serve it to the audience, all right, fine. Um, but but I want to see a clean finish. I want to see a clean match. And I'm a wrestling fan who's been a fan for a very long time of wrestling. And I'm old school, but I'm cool, ladies and gentlemen. And I like old school style wrestling, which means I like clean finishes. But okay, so we're on the same page. We're on the same page. Jay is going to win this match. The Intercontinental Championship is up for grabs. It is Gunther, the Ring General, and he's going to take on Sami Zayn. Now, the build for this match is not there. There's not much heat going on here with this, but however, Gunther is playing mind games with Sami Zayn. And everybody's talking about he can't beat Gunther. He's not going to beat Gunther. I mean, how how do we not know? How do we not know in our heart of hearts we're going to get a shocking moment here at WrestleMania? And Sammy gets his WrestleMania moment. How do we not know that? How do we not know that? Um, but we're going to find out about it. But I'm going to go to Bobby. Bobby, who is going to win the Intercontinental Champion?
All right, so I asked this question: Who's the coach of Sami Zayn? Who's coaching him right now?
Chad Gable.
Chad Gable is the answer to this match. I believe Gunther's going to win because Chad Gable is going to turn on Sami Zayn.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, I like that. I like that. I like that a whole lot. The knife comes out and gets stabbed right in the back. Dang. Didn't see that coming. No. I had thought you were going to say, oh, he's going to help him win the Intercontinental Championship. I didn't think you were going to say, I did not think that was going to come out in that northern direction. But okay, that came, all right. I like that. I like that. So you're saying that Gunther retains thanks to Mr. Gable.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a winner. I'm going to be on the same page. This is the first time we've ever done predictions on this show, and we are on the same page as far as the predictions go. So this is the first. Not only does Bobby debut on the show, but we're on the same pages too. So Gunther's going to retain the Intercontinental Champion. All right. Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens for the United States title in a triple threat match. All right. Now, this match, ladies and gentlemen, came about is because Logan Paul interfered in Randy Orton's business in the chamber. And Nick Aldis came out and says, well, I'm going to name your opponents. And he used the word opponents with an S. The build for this match, again, not that much heat going on, not that much. I don't like Logan Paul. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I don't like the way he wins his matches with shenanigans. I can't take shenanigans. So I can't. I don't discount his athleticism in the ring. His athleticism is fine. I have no problem with that. But so we the match at hand. So Bobby, let me ask you a question. What do you make of the build for this match?
Lackluster. I think it was just thrown together. That's just my opinion.
Okay. So who is going to win this title?
Man. I don't think Kevin Owens is going to win.
Okay.
I think Logan Paul or Randy.
Oh, okay.
It's just,
all right.
Yeah.
Do you think that Randy is going to? You think that Randy's going to win, or is he going to take the U.S. title from Logan Paul?
I think it's a possibility. And I also think it's a high likelihood that Logan Paul retains because a lot of people hate him. He's got the emotions of a lot of us, and he's great. He's great at what he does.
Okay. So you thinking that Logan Paul retains?
Possibly. I can see Logan Paul walking his brother down to fight Mike Tyson carrying a WWE championship. I thought that'd be interesting.
Interesting.
Because we're talking the companies work together. What other way to promote the company than by having someone in boxing, right, going for an exhibition fight against the baddest man on the planet, and then behind him he's got somebody carrying a WWE championship. What other way to promote like that on such a grand scale? I think it's genius. So we'll see. And I'm bringing a business aspect of it.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna say, based upon what I've seen so far, I think Logan Paul's gonna lose the title. I think Randy Orton's going to be the new United States champion. I have a funny feeling that's exactly. He's going to RKO him right back into that prime bottle. I think he's going to stun his right there in front of everyone there in Lincoln Financial Field. It's going to be a great. I can't wait to sit there and watch that match. That match is going to be great. I can, like I said, I don't discount what he can do in the ring. Man can wrestle. The way he retains his titles, I'm not a fan of it at all. That brass knuckle thing, That thing is just it's a war's course. It's enough. I want to see you win the match. If you're gonna retain the title, retain it clean. You don't need brass knuckles all the time. You really don't. So I'm gonna say that Orton wins the United States Championship, and Bobby thinks that Logan is gonna retain. So it's a split, but it's okay. It's a good split. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the chat and let's see what's happening. Daniel Berry the Sports, how are you? Mitch Tomsky, our founding forefather, how are you? Thank you so much for your time and energy. Evil Kicks, good evening. How are you? Thank you so much, new viewer. Please subscribe to our channels. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And follow us on X. Thank you so much. And let's see, Nightbot. Okay. Thank you so much. And let's see. All right. Oh, all right. Dito Superfly, thank you so much for your time. All right. Thank you so much. And Eva Kicks, what are you saying here? AEW needs to work on their storyline and booking. Yep, I agree with that assessment. I agree with that assessment. Bobby, what do you think about that comment?
I agree. I agree. Definitely. We have some storytelling, but clearly we like stories, we like builds, we like the culmination of so many different matches. So yes, definitely I agree.
Yeah,
And
I
Earl
agree with
Cole, check
that.
your Instagram. Earl Cole, check your Instagram. That's
Instagram.
yeah.
Hold on.
Just wanted to pass
Okay.
that to you.
Hold on 1 second. Let me go to my tablet. Hold on. It, it, okay. 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 Bobby has to go, ladies and gentlemen. He has to run. Okay. But anyway, Bobby, thank you again so much for your time and energy. And again, it's been great having you on the show. And we will do this again. We will do this again for
Definitely.
sure. And I'm going to continue, ladies and gentlemen, with the portion of the show, and I'm going to give you the rest of our predictions for WrestleMania. Um, but again, like I said, Bobby, again, thank you so much for your time
Thanks
and
for
your
having
energy.
me.
Yeah, and I hope to see you at WrestleMania as we move forward in the program and the telecast. So again, Bobby, thank you so much for your time and energy, and we will be in touch.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks to everybody in the chat. And yeah, let's do this again, please. All right. I look forward to it.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Bobby, and good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move on with the show, and like I said, Bobby has family and stuff, so I understand that. Like I said, my co-pilot Sarah is not here tonight. She had car trouble, so she can get home in time to be here. So, but we're going to carry on with the matches, and I'm going to bring you the matches. So, let me just see here. Vegeta and Superfly. John, yeah. Tony Khan. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with your assessment. He has to start delegating. He has to start delegating, and he has to start doing things right. And do the things right is very important at this point. Um so all right, let's see what else we got here. All right. So we have. Thank you for that very much. Your comment. And let's go down here. Um, and don't forget to don't forget Tony Khan has made your booking, and that is why the story tends to fall flat. Yes, yes, the majority of the booking, and that's why the story tends to fall. Well, I don't agree. I don't agree. Superfly, Vandito versus Superfly Johnny. I don't agree with that assessment. I think the booking is fine. The problem with this, the problem that I have with this is that he needs a team. He needs that live event team, and that's what's important here. That's what's important here. So um, that's that's what's important. He needs that alive event team. That is what gets boots on the ground. So, all right. Um, Bandito, Superfly, Johnny. What else do you got for me? Let's see. Facts. Bonnie, James Tony Khan fails to admit he's number two, and he gets torn up just by the fan giving. Yeah, and that's a child with a company. Promoter, that's a child. Yeah, well, I'm gonna agree with the assessment with that. He needs to be a boss, and he needs to delegate. Like I said, he needs a team. He needs that live event team and everything else. So, um, yeah, I'm going to say at this time that Tony Khan has to put himself together and he has to get that live event team and everything else. So thank you so much for your comment. And Dito, Superfly. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to the Hardcore Sports. We greatly appreciate it. And that's always been AEW's Tony Khan and his booking style. And I'm not going to throw Tony Khan under the bus with his booking. I'm not. I'm not going to throw him under the bus with his booking. I think his booking is fine. The problem with him is that he needs a live event team. He needs teams of people to delegate and to give out the jobs to people and not just put everybody under one umbrella for every job. You need different people to do different things in a wrestling organization, and that's what you need to learn in business. You can't survive if you don't have that team. So that's important here. Um, let's see. I knew she didn't get over for some reason. A WWE superstar, a form coming to AEW. It is get over. Yeah. Again, like I said, AEW's get over on AEW's hardcore fan. Yeah. Well, with Mercedes, if you're talking about Mercedes Bonet. I don't want to see her do no more promos. What I want to see her do at this point in time is to be in the ring and get a wrestling match under her belt. I've said that many times over. I've said that many times over, and I stick by for what I said. Uh, Bandia versus Superfly. Well, she got over big. Yeah, the more she gets in the ring, the more big she's gonna get, and I agree with your assessment. Cut her teeth in Japan and had AEW debut. That was too obvious. Now it seems like she is fell into the stigma of every form of WC first. Yeah, she's over, but she not over like she should. Yeah, well, she's not over like she should be because she's not wrestling in the ring. She's still doing the promo. She's still doing things. So I'm going to say at this point that if you want her in the ring, if you want her in the ring and everything, that's fine. Benito's versus Super. Thank you so much, Benito, for all your questions and comments. You're doing good tonight in the chat. Um, Biggest issue in AEW: fans seem only to care about the AEW talent, where a former WWE talent joins. Yeah, and they build up for months. Then Tony Khan gets bored of them. Well, I don't know if Tony Khan gets bored of them. The problem with that is that he needs to book them correctly. That's what he needs to do. But again, Fendito versus Superfly Jimmy, thank you so much for your comment. Yeah, 8.5 for me. Okay, great. And let's see what she says here. My biggest thing is to say, yeah, you are lively tonight with your comments. Fendi versus Superfly Johnny. Thank you so much for your comments. Um, My biggest thing is Mercedes was built up to be the big signing for AEW. Okay, it just feels like she's the head. Yeah, well, I understand that. I understand that she went for the TV stuff. Yeah, well, we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see what happens. We're gonna have to see what happens with that. All right. Let's see. Again, Fendito, you're on fire tonight with your comments. Let's see what we got here. The Bucks do the much to put over WWE by doing circus. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that, Bandito. Let's see. Mitch, Mitch, hey, Mick, how are you? Thank you so much for your comment. Let's see. Eric Douglas, thank you so much. I'm surprised Steph came back even more. So she won. Yeah, yeah, I was surprised too. Thank you, Eric, for your comment. Bandito, again, thank you so much. Bandito, again, thank you so much for your comment. Bandito, I give it an 8 as well. Bandito, again, a good spot indeed. Yeah, again, thank you so much for your comment. All About Wrestling, thank you so much for your comment. And I want to thank Bobby for being on the show tonight. He was great at his analytics. Though the Undisputed Kingdom is lame anymore, it's one of those thrown together factions only existed against a. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. Here's the thing with that. Um, Here's the thing, Bandito. The faction was supposed to feud with MJF, but because MJF was injured, now we have to pivot and bring them into some. But I was glad that they started to put some titles or do something with this faction because it really didn't work. It really after MJF was injured and they couldn't get into that program. There was really nothing to do at that point. So it causes right. That's finally wrong step. Yeah, I agree with that. Tantalizing Tony, how are you? Thank you so much for your time and energy. Thank you so much. Respect to you, sir. And Adina versus Superfly when the orange added. Okay. All right. It ruins the character. Yeah, it does. I agree. Um, because they're killing Mercedes runs so far. Yeah, well, here's the thing is that they're not killing the momentum. All they have to do is if they want to keep her, if they want to keep the way it is, they have to put her in the ring. They have to give her a match. They have to do something. They've got to do something. And and let's see. The TBS title is okay, but Mercedes is, yes, she is a megastar. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. I agree with that assessment. Mercedes should be no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would agree with that. Uh, when, yeah. Again, Johnny, thank you so much for your comments. All your comments. Thank you so much. Dro Divine, thank you so much for your comment. Yeah, he does have charisma, Dro. I agree with that, Dro. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Um, Hangman lost on purpose to stop Swerve from winning the great story. Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna agree with that. He was crazy in that match. He was absolutely crazy. But thank you so much for your comment. A solid build is always a must. Yes, I agree with that. A solid build. You got to get that build up, ladies and gentlemen. WWE has done tremendous of building this pay per view. And then the attack on Raw Cody is what the feud needed. I'm going to respectfully disagree, Superfly Johnny. Um, I'm going to say that the WrestleMania build has been very lackluster. The build has been lackluster, and all of the WWE's focused on is this Cody and Roman and the Bloodline and Rollins and getting him involved and everything else. Um, it's a little too late in the game to start focusing on the other matches now. You should have done that in the beginning, but that's just again my opinion. Rock told Cody that you might, and then he kept his. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, and that happened on Raw. Uh, yeah, yeah. So you get Matt the Giants fan. How are you? Thank you so much for your comment. We greatly appreciate it. Jay versus Jimmy is on the money. Yeah, I'm going to agree. The build has not been there. The build has not been there, but I think Jay is going to go over Jimmy. I like that too. Yes, Mac, I agree with your assessment. Um, I like that a lot. Yeah, I like that too. Chad has every right to turn. Yeah, we're going to see what happens at WrestleMania with that, but I like that prediction that Bobby had a while ago. He's angry, Sammy's son, when this was Gable's match. Yeah, I agree with that. Again, I agree with that. I think Randy could win, but I feel Kevin and Randy best of be allowing Logan to retain. Yeah, well, I hope that if he does retain, I want to see it done clean. That's for sure. Good night, guys. It's been fun. Good night, Superfly. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your Easter Sunday. Thank you so much for taking. Take care. Thank you so much for your time and energy. Gregor John, how are you? Thank you so much for your time and energy. Um, how's it going? I'm doing great, Gregor John. How are you tonight? Thank you again for popping in. Such a loyal soldier in the chat. Everybody that's in the chat, please hit that like button. Hit the like button. And of course, subscribe to the Hardcore Sports Network. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate it. Subscribe to the Hardcore Sports YouTube and Facebook page. Throw them. They should give Mercedes more and more matches. And yes, they should. Yes, they should. Everyone, thank you all so much for your time and energy in the chat. So now that we've gone through the chat, let's talk about one match that I would like to talk about is Bailey take on Io Sky for the women's title. Um, the match is going to be fine. The build for this is not again the build is not there. There's none of these matches have the heat necessary. None of the matches have heat to it, and I think it's a little too late in the game. Bailey got excommunicated from Boring Control. As you all know, ladies and gentlemen, she was excommunicated out of the group, and she was kicked out. She was kicked out. And but who am I gonna think is gonna win this match? I'm gonna say we're gonna have a new champion in Bailey. I'm gonna say Bailey. Um, yeah, so Bailey's gonna win the match over EO. I think that should be good. But Damage Control gonna be up to thanks. They're gonna be up to thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Um, all right. Seth Rollins take on Drew McIntyre for the championship. I'm gonna go to. I'm gonna say Drew McIntyre wins the championship and gets his WrestleMania moment. Um. Well, we can't talk about the ladder match, the 6-pack ladder match, because we still got that to talk about tomorrow night on SmackDown. Um, Knight take on Styles. I think Knight will win the match over Styles. I can see that. Um, Logan Paul, we said retained. Gunther retains. Um, Now here's two matches that could go either way. Well, let's talk about the tag match for a second. The Rock and Roman will take on Cody and Rollins. Here's the thing: we don't know what's going to happen in this match. We could get a swerve and Rock turns on. He could turn on his partner. Or does Rollins turn on Cody and screw him out of the opportunity? All I know is, ladies and gentlemen, if this match does not go the right way and Cody loses this match, Bloodline rules the next night. I'm not sure, ladies and gentlemen. I can't seem to pick a winner in this tag match. But here's something that my co-pilot Sarah said, and she said it brilliantly. They're not going to make Roman lose 2 nights in a row. So I'm going to base upon that and based upon the whack booking that we've got all over the place that Team Rock will win over Team Cody. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get Bloodline rules, and that means Roman is going to retain. And he's going to retain in the same old whack fashion with shenanigans. Hate to admit it, hate to say it, but that's what it calls for. So, c'est la vie, ladies and gentlemen. C'est la vie. Same old, same old. So that's going to be WrestleMania. That's going to be WrestleMania. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be my final wrestling experience. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. I want to thank Bobby for his time and brief time that he was here. Ladies and gentlemen, we went through some of the matches with Bobby and got his thoughts on WrestleMania. To my co-pilot, so I will see you next Wednesday. I will see you next Wednesday for AEW Dynamite, and we will do AEW Dynamite, ladies and gentlemen, on April 3rd, and that will be my final telecast. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to wish everybody a very happy Easter weekend. Be safe out there, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your family and friends if you're celebrating Easter this Sunday. I want to thank all of my supporters. I want to thank all of you for watching. I want to thank all of you for tuning into the Hardcore Sports and supporting the Hardcore Sports at 1K and counting. I want to thank you for doing that. I want to thank you all for the entire week. This has been a great week for me. And it's fun to talk about these wrestling shows and going through these scenarios and everything else. So tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, just 24 hours from now, I will be back in cyberspace. I'm going to be back in cyberspace with the with Friday Night SmackDown. Now, the two stories that I have, I'm going to table those, and I'll talk about that with Nick tomorrow night on the show. So we're going to talk about wrestling news tomorrow night. We're going to be on the air at 7:50 Eastern Daylight Standard Time, and we hope that you'll tune in for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the Wrestling Experience. It's been fun. I'm going to be back on the Wrestling Experience on April the 18th, ladies and gentlemen. The Wrestling Experience returns on the 18th of April. Me and Sarah will have a very special guest, and we're going to let you know about that in the coming weeks. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for your time and your energy. I want to thank Mitch Kofsky. I want to thank Bro. I want to thank you all, Gregor John. Thank you all so much for being in the chat. We greatly appreciate you. And thanks to everyone for your questions, your comments, your thoughts. And we'll be back, like I said, again in cyberspace just 24 hours from now with the Friday Night SmackDown, and that will be my final Friday Night SmackDown watch along until I get back from WrestleMania. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for your time and energy. We'll see you tomorrow night for Friday Night SmackDown from Uncasville, Connecticut, and we're gonna get down and get crunk on a Good Friday because it's Good Friday, and we're going to have fun tomorrow night on the streams and of course all points in between. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Earl Cole. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
Now with the hottest show in the universe, the Wrestling Experience, with your host Earl Cole.
Acknowledge me.
Coming at you with all the dope shit, freshest WWE content, and also through AEW. You are now watching The Experience, the Wrestling Experience. Now with your host, Earl Cole.